And here we go, back online for a new episode of the Reply Challenges streaming. Hello, everyone. We are live 1 minute to 5 o'clock. As always, we start a bit before our official schedule because we'd like to be on time once the people connect. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I see already some people online. Ciao all. Please use the Facebook and YouTube player in order to interact with us. Thank you very much for attending this new Reply Code Challenge webinar dedicated, as you may know today, to the standard edition. We are referring to one of the biggest coding competition held worldwide with more than 20,000 registered people and 21,000 submissions held on March 12 together with so many people worldwide. And actually we have already even discovered the winning team because we interviewed them, and you can check the interview we had with the winning team a couple of weeks ago. But as always, I'm not alone, Enrico, together with some of my friends. Today we have, start with the new one, I would say, my friend Mirko from the Code Masters team. Ciao, Mirko. You are on mute.
Hi, ciao.
Yes. Ciao. Welcome on board. How are you?
Thank you. Well,
everything fine.
Well, thank you.
You, I guess, as all of us, you are at home in home working mode.
Yeah.
Right? All right.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
up?
I'm working. Actually, is all well. We're going on. So.
Do you have kids or pets that might interact with this live streaming or not?
Yeah, I have pets, but I'm close in the room, so
they will not give you any
some interruption and so on.
All right, we have to permit this because my kids might appear somehow. We already have this experience in the past, and that's it. But again, it's on working mode, and we are pretty happy to try to do our best in order to interact with the community, even if in this emergency situation that, of course, for all of us, we strongly hope it will end as soon as possible. But it's me, it's Mirko, and as always, we have our friend Gaspare. Ciao, Gaspare, welcome on board.
Ciao Rico, thank you very much. Hello to everybody. I'm proud to be here again for a new live coding session.
Okay, as always, we are falling in love with the lamp behind you. We see that you changed the chair. Am I right or not?
No, it's the same.
It's always the same. Okay,
it's my working.
The working chair. Okay. So what's up again? We are live. I deeply want to remember this. So we are collecting questions, greetings, whatever you want to share with us on the Facebook Reply You page, on YouTube. And of course, we are live on challenges.reply.com. That is our home for the Reply Challenges perspective and community in general. Thank you all for being here. Of course, we'll start in a while in order to what we will do together today. It's all about the Reply Code Challenge held on March 12 again, and designed in a matter of fact in its problem statement thing by our friends, the Reply Code Masters team, and we have a delegate of them, which is Mirko. Mirko, would you like to tell us something more related to the Code Masters procedure before we will go deep in the problem? How the Code Masters team works in order to prepare the problem statement. When did you start? We have the game on March 12. When did you start in designing it?
Generally, we start on after the summer, so sometime like September and so on. We start thinking about what problem to put in the challenge. So we do actually a lot of brainstorming, trying to come up with ideas, suggestion of something that could make a problem that is interesting, cool, and also difficult. So for the first step is to have an idea on what could be the problem. We try always to design problems that have some contact with reality. So problems that are some real problems that we can have during our work life.
Okay.
So then when there is the idea, we try to create a model to transform the problem in some model that could be described in a file and in a mathematical view. And then we try to create all the formulas, all the rule that you can use to create the score and so on.
Okay.
So,
okay. Please go on.
So we start from a real problem, then to try to simplify it with a model that can be described and can be used to create a program that solves it. And then we start thinking out how we can score this problem. So how we can build a formula that give a score according to how better someone has been and solving the problem.
Okay, that's the technical part out of it, I guess.
Yeah, and then we have actually the problem statement.
Okay, it's a matter of 6 months, if I'm right, pretty much.
Something like 6 months. Yeah.
Okay, how many codemasters in the team? You are about 10 guys, more or less.
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we will pass, of course, in describing this year problem. Have you already started for the 2021 or not?
No.
Not yet.
We are not already started.
Okay. It's a matter of trade-off, I guess, in trying to design a problem that is enough. It's a challenge, so it has to be enough hard. I mean, quite difficult to challenge the best coders worldwide. But similarly, it has to give room and space, even for, I would say, newbies or not so professional, not super professional programmers, in order to play with us.
There should be ideally, it should be a problem that someone could give a solution, no matter how bad, good, or so on. But it could give a solution actually in a few time, in not so much time, and without many competencies. Then there should be room for competent programmer, for really good programmer, to go on and find a really good solution that give a bigger score.
Okay.
So a problem is a good problem. Is a lot of people give solution. If is there really a greater difference between low score solution and high score solution? And also, and I think this year we've been able to do it, that until the end, there is still people that create solution and still the score is increasing.
Okay. Thanks for remembering us these. The problems are still available on the challenges.reply.com platform, so you can train yourself in order to see how do you perform. And today we are here in order to challenge our friends Gaspar in order to solve the 2020 problem statement in pretty much 1 hour. Of course, we'll see if we are able to do it completely. Anyhow, I will ask you to start, because we already have welcomed our community of viewers. It's 7 minutes right after 5. We are live on challenges.reply.com and Reply You Facebook page. We can start, I would say. Mirko, Gaspar, how do you want to organize ourselves? Mirko, would you like to start introducing the problem statement, and then Gaspar will start solving it? Is this the way we can work? Okay.
Yes, of course.
Please feel free to share your screen if you have materials. I mean, Gaspar will share his screen in order to see the code, the live coding session, of course. Mirko, up to you to introduce us to the problem statement.
Okay. So this year problem is about finding places in open spaces. So this is a problem that is common to every company that uses open spaces. So the problem is to fit all the employee inside the open spaces, trying to put together people that work for the same group or have the skill that can be useful to do the work done. So
okay, so it's a kind of real problem for Reply, I would say, since we are a digital consulting company serving so many clients worldwide. It's a kind of interesting solution to see.
Yeah, because I think often is very often that we find that there maybe people that was on the customer, then is come back on the office and there is no place, so he has to try to find a place and so on.
That's a thing I remember quite well.
So what we do is to design a map of an office landscape that has we try to fit in our map two kinds of people. That is the developer and the project manager. The developer is a member of a company, because on Reply we are many different companies, and there is a set of skills. So any developer have a set of programming skills, so there are programming languages or tools and so on. And then there is a value, so that is the bonus that the developer gives to people that are on adjacent seats. Then there are project manager. The difference between a project manager and developer, that is the project manager has no skills. So the only value that gives a project manager is this bonus.
Okay.
Then we are defined work potential. That is, so we are seeing.
Yeah, we are seeing Casper is scrolling the document. Yeah. It might be a kind of exactly in the examples, maybe.
So we are defined work potential. So the work potential is what indicates the potential that is within two people that are in adjacent spaces. This potential is given by the product or the common skill between two developers and the distinct skill between the developers. So what it means that for have a good work potential, we need people that have common skills, but also people with different skills. So the two people with different skills can help together and work together.
Okay.
Then we, if the two adjacent people are the same company, they have a bonus potential that is done from the product of their bonus potential. So we give a bonus score if the people that are on adjacent seats are part of the same company. Yeah, the same work also if one of them is a manager.
Makes sense.
The manager gives no bonus for the skills, but give bonus due to being the same company, because it's better if you work together with the manager of your company.
Yeah, that's true. Not always, but that's true. In general, okay, Gaspare, did you had all the information needed in order to start, or I mean, we can go a bit too deep.
I still have to describe how the map is composed.
Okay, yeah, sorry, right.
Because on the map you have three kind of tiles.
Okay.
There are two with the pound symbols. There's unavailable tiles, so you cannot put people there. The one with underscore, they are the developer desk, so desk where you can put a developer, and M are the manager offices, so the place where you can put a manager. So what you have to do is to try to get the best score possible, to put all the developers and all the managers on the office plan, generate an output. So the output is for each position. So we have one row for each developer and one row for each manager. You have to give the coordinates of the place to where you are putting this person. If you are not putting a developer or manager on the map, you put an X. So you are not, you have not forced to put all the people that are given on a problem statement on the map, you can also choose to leave people outside of the map.
All right. I guess that's the overview of the problem statement that has been published on March 12 for our community of 20,000 coders challenging in teams these optimization problem, right? It's a kind of that category. Yeah. I would say if it's so for you, we can start with Gaspare, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so hands on the steering wheel, live coding session starting now. We are pretty much for the next 45 minutes, we have time to try to propose a solution, or at least the logic behind it. Gaspare, what do you do if you have just finished to read it?
Okay, so I think I can start with a top-down approach. So I start from the higher kind of abstractions, and then I write code more in profundity. So, for example, I can subdivide my software, my program in 3 simple parts, which are the first part where I read the data from the files, where I see where which is the map and which are the developers and the managers. In the second part, I find the solution of the problem, and in the last part, I write the output to the solution to send to the sandbox. After this, I can implement each function one by one, starting from higher levels. So I read the input, then I find solution, and then I write the output. So in this point, it's a good idea maybe to split in teams. So maybe I write the read input function, and my teammates can write over kind of solution. And this is a good way to parallelize work when you are in teams. So I start, of course, from the beginning, because I'm only writing the solution.
Yep.
So in the first part, I read the input according to the input format of the problem. To read first the input data, I need to allocate all the variables needed to understand the math, the developers and the managers. So at the beginning, I need the dimension of the grid, which is width and height of the map. I need the number of developer.
We always in love with your way of commenting the code.
Yes, I hope to not do so many titles.
Yeah.
And the number of managers available in the input data. After that, I need to allocate all the variables, for example, for the map, for the grid, and for the skills.
Yeah, of course.
So I can implement the grid as a vector of string, and then I need to save for each reply, for each developer, the company, the bonus value, and the list of skills. So I need free data for developers, which is the company, which is the bonus. Is bonus. And for the last one, I need the list of skills available for each developers.
Okay.
This is the input data. So I need also to see where I put people. So I keep tracks where I tell people to sit. So this is the assigned in position. And to this, I need a map of integer which represent the numbers, the identifier of the repliers. So position developer. And this is the input data. So for the output data, I need to know where I put people and if I choose them or not. So I need developers positions and I use a vector of pairs of integers. And of course, I need to keep track where I don't use them. So I say that is I don't put people in a place identified then by a pair which is the -1, which is a fake position. After this, I can easily write the two function of read input and write output. So for example, the write output it's very easy to write because I can simply do these things.
We are just preparing the table, and there are kind of 30 lines of stuff. Mirko, what do you think? Is proceeding right? Mirko, you there? You're on mute.
Yeah, I think it's right.
Okay.
Because you always have to start with mapping the
that's
the input,
makes sense
so you
even
have
to
a
me.
structure for all of them.
Yeah. Are you used to comment your code as Gaspar is doing right now for let me say a didactic perspective, or usually you forget about commenting and you go straight in coding?
So in this kind of situation, it's very useful to write comments. For the viewers and for my teammates, because maybe they don't know what I write while they are writing some other part of the problem. So it is very useful for them.
Yes, of course. In general, in the meanwhile you are writing, I will ask you, what is the strategy? Is each member of the team starting by itself alone, or better to work together at the beginning?
So I think that at the beginning, it's very useful to come up with a basic structure of the software, which is the same for everyone.
Okay.
And after that, I think they can split and work in parallel, so to come up with the best solution.
All right. That's the strategy, let me say. We are live 21 minutes after 5 o'clock together with Gaspar and Ferraro. We lost Mirko for a while. I hope he will be back. Probably connection issue. We are solving or trying to solve the reply code challenge 2020 problem statement. You are seeing Gaspar, which is the creator actually of the teen edition problem statement, as you may know. We are challenging him to produce together with us live a solution to this optimization problem in a kind of 1 hour. So you're seeing him live coding. I'm not doing anything. So you see him coding and me just talking. You can interact with us on Facebook, Reply You page, and challenges.reply.com YouTube player. Why not just to raise your hands and say hi if you want, if you are following. Mirko is back. We are happy to have you.
Yeah, sorry, some
yeah, no
problems.
problem. That's again the almost working stuff that might get in trouble sometimes. Once we have produced the teen edition webinar, we have this kind of good thing that people watching Gaspar coding were live bug fixing, commenting the code he was doing. So if you may notice some kind of bugs or mistakes or typos in Gaspar's code, you can interact with us on the YouTube or Facebook chat. Gaspar, where are you?
So now I'm reading the developer's information. So I'm still in the first part of the problem where I read and understand the problem's data, which is the critical part, because after that you can write a simple solution which score maybe a little, and then you can optimize the solution. So after you write the template, the worst part is almost done.
Okay.
So this is 16 times worse because I'm alone and I have only 1 hour to come up with a solution. So I hope to come up with some basic idea to share with the viewers.
They are asking us if the video will be recording. Yes, of course.
Yes,
Will
of
be.
course.
We are recording the video and will be available from the beginning on challenges.reply.com. And in general, take in mind that all the materials you can use as training materials there is available. And so, I mean, you can leverage on tons of different training materials in order to be a better coder and, of course, participate in the next reply code challenges.
So in this way, I do a little cheat because I don't manage with the strings of the skills. So for example, I don't memorize Python, Azure, cybersecurity, and so on, because they are very heavy to manage with strings. So I transform them in integers. So for example, I assign the number 1 to Java, the number 2 to Python, the number 3 to Azure, and so on, because integers number are more faster to manage instead of strings.
Okay.
So when I write this kind of solution, I have to pay attention also to the performance of the software, because if I don't come up with a solution in the 4 hours, it will be very problematic, because the times is very important. Okay. Okay, so I almost done the first part.
Of course, right now, you know the path to the solution and you are proceeding very fast.
Yes,
what do you
course.
think in terms of timing? The challenge takes 4 hours. Great coders might be at your level right now, right after 20 minutes, even less, 10 minutes.
Yes, maybe 10 minutes to understand more or less the basic details of the problem, and then you can split. So when one try to write this kind of code, the other one are still reading the problem to understand a first valid solution. So maybe there are some people reading and some people writing the solutions.
Yeah, okay.
So according to the problems, there is no difference between developers and managers. So I can treat them in the same way, because managers are developers with no skills. The only difference is that I can't put developers in manager seats, but the opposite, yes, I can put the managers in the developer seat. So this is very important, because it simplifies a lot the problems. So I save all the managers' data beside the developers' data. So they are more or less the same.
Okay, it makes sense.
So after I write this function, I see if it is working correctly. So okay. Plus m, no, place. Okay. Oh, so I hope to can run it. A very useful things to do is to write a simple script to manage all the compilation, all the running and the statistics stuff. So for example, I've done a simple script which compile the software with all the basic flags for the compiler, and then I execute them for all the inputs. So I don't have to manage with files and with running each the files one by one. So these simple things speed up a lot all the things I have to do during the contest. So for example, if I run the script, it compiles.
Yep.
And then I can see maybe some error for example, find solution is not defined. So I understand that this is an error. Okay. So this is a working solution which only read the data. And if I print a solution, it only prints me the X. So I don't have put developers or manager, and they are all not placed. So this is a valid but not scoring solution.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's working, but it's not score any points. Now the first thing to do is to come up with the first solution. A simple solution is simply analyze each shells one by one, and then try to allocate the developers and managers which maximize the points. So, which maximize points. So I see one free space. I see which are the points for each of the developers, and then I take the maximum. So I try to maximize in a greedy way the problems. So a very, very, very simple solution can be this for each row and for each columns of the map, and for each. Okay. Plus H. Okay.
It might be the easier one, but maybe not the most performing, probably.
Yes, I show you one possible solution which can be very useful even for the past and the future problems.
Yeah.
So this is approach which works almost always.
Of course.
So I first see if the cells is available. So I can put the people where the map told me there is a sharp symbol, and this, if this is available, then I try to find the best in this solution. So I have to write another function to find the best developer to put in that position. So I write function while I was thinking of the solution. So I don't have already at the beginning. So I have to write the function by one. So this function is a small part of the solution, because given a single position, given a single cell, is find the best only for that kind of data. So a possible solution can be this one. Okay, so I need the index to be returned, index of the best one, and of course I need the best score, which will add to my solution. So max score to developers, and I need to save for each of the developers which are the points that it give me if I put them in that place. So best developers to set in this kind of position. Okay, so I have to save this data. So I allocate a new vector. I reallocate with the right dimension, which is the number of developers plus the number of managers.
Okay.
This is a little trick, because if this kind of position is for a manager, so if the cells equals to M, I put only managers. I can't place a non-manager in manager position. So I need to tell to the function which kind of developers or manager I can put them. So this is the default value. So at the beginning, I can put all the developers and managers. But if this is a cell of a manager, I start analyzing from the managers. Okay. After this, I analyze for each developers. I see I see if I haven't chosen these people because I don't want to use, I can't use the same people twice. So if this person is not placed, I choose it. And if it is already placed, the score is -1, only for simplicity. So the scores for a people already placed is -1, so it won't be taken twice. And the scores, in this case, I can evaluate with another function that I see later. So I have to write a function that, given identifier of developers and then given the position where I put it, it returns me the amount of score it provides me if I put it in that position.
Okay, since you know how much I love the interruptions, a friend of us is asking, which Linux distribution do you have?
So now I'm with Manjaro, which is Arch-based. So,
all right. My God, I just know Ubuntu, and that's all I know. Okay, I hope we answer to our friend Keyblade 95.
So this is very personal things. Maybe you will fit better with Ubuntu, with Arch, with I don't know, Debian. It's only personal opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I have find the best one. This I evaluate the score for each of the developers managers. Okay, so after this I have to find the best one to place in that position. So again, I iterate again over the array of scores, and I skip it if is already placed. So, okay, and I update the maximum find so far, and if each score is greater than the best score find so far, I update its value, and I save it in my data for the return function. Okay. And now, if I find a valid solution, because it's not assured that I find a valid solution for that place. So if the index is different from -1, which is indicate don't place anybody in that position, I assign that in that place, so in that coordinate H and W, and of course I do I save the position of the developer identifiers. So this can be a possible simple solution which take the best for each shell and then continue to do the next one. Of course, this is not finished because I need to do the very important things of the problem, which is evaluate the score. So at this point, I don't have already written which is the function to maximize, so this part of the problem. So I don't have managed already the bonus potential and the common skills. So this is a function which return the index, an integer, which is the points that if I place this kind of developer in this position. Okay. So if you read the problem, you can take points for each near developers or manager, which is seated up, down, left, and right. So I need to evaluate 4 different kinds of scores, which is the sum of the nearest teammates, the near colleagues. So for example, I need to evaluate the score for the left one, for the right one, and for the upper and the bottom one. So for example, if I am not on the border, because of if I am in the first cell in the left, I can have a neighborhood because I am already on the border. So I have to check if I am maybe in the second column. And if I am in the second column, I can take, of course, the left of the colleagues sit in the left part of my grid. So I can do this one. Okay. So this function again evaluate the score between me, which I am seated in H and W position, and the scores between my neighborhood, which is seated in H-1 and W. So it is my left in my left position. And DD score is another function I have to write because I have to manage not only the seat of the 4 neighborhood, but also in pairwise, not only in the 4 positions. So this is another function that is take 2 index of position, and this is the smallest function I have to write because it simply evaluate score between developers or managers A and B, while this function evaluates the scores between developers, managers, and all its neighbors. I don't
Hard to
know.
write.
Hard to write. Good. I know.
The community is following silent, I would say, just to I hope they are getting the idea behind it. I hope, I mean, I'm doing it, so I hope it's feasible for them to follow you coding right here. Please comment on YouTube and Facebook if you want to share your thoughts on the solution provided so far by Gaspare. We are reaching, I mean, we have passed the half of our time. Mirko, any comment at your side?
I think he's doing good. He's showing, I think, 2 things that are important when you are solving the problem. So you have to try to get a valid solution as soon as possible. It could also be, as I done, an empty solution, because the importance is that you can able to get a solution and load it, so you are sure you are parsing the input correctly and generating the output correctly. Then you have to create the simple possible solution and go on, because on the standard code challenge, you can always load again your solution, and the platform takes the better score of all the solution and all the file you are loaded. So the best way to solve it is to go on, create a solution as simple as you are able, as quickly as you are able, load it, get a score, and then improve it, and so on. Because what you see often is that people that don't know the solution until the second or also the third, fourth of the time. So they take a lot of time coding a best solution, but they are not able then to have a score because they are busy trying to get a good solution. It's better to have a solution, any solution, and then work on improve it.
Okay. You got the you got the strategy, let me say, behind it. Gaspar, in the meanwhile, was completing part of the code.
So now I'm implementing the scoring function for a couple of developer of manager. So at the beginning, I have to check if one of them is invalid because maybe the left neighborhood can be empty. So I have to check this possibility. And after that, I have to check if maybe they are in the same company. So I have to do these things. If the company of the developer A is equal to the company of developer B, I award the bonus by multiplier the bonus of the two developers. So bonus of A times bonus of B. So after this part, which is the simple of the scoring function, I have to do the formula to calculate the intersection and the differences of the skills between the two developers. So I need, for example, the size, the number of skills available for the first developers, the number of skills available for the second developer. Then I need to evaluate the dimension of the intersection. So the intersection size, which is equal beginning to 0, and the symmetric difference. So this is the symmetric difference in the logic notations, which is the differences between the union and the intersection of the skills of both of the developers. Size equal to 0. Okay. And then after this, I have to see each of the skill of developer A, and I check if I can find the same skill in the set of skill of the other developer. So if the skills of developers D, B contains the skill X, so if differently from, and I increment the intersection size plus, increment it. At the beginning, I have that the symmetric difference is the sum between the dimension of the size of the two skills of the two developers, so size A plus size B, minus 2 times the intersection size. Okay, because if you do some quick math, you come up that this is the correct solution, correct function to evaluate in the scoring function, because S of I anion S of J, it already remove one of the intersection size, and yeah, we have to remove 2 times the intersection size. So at the end, the total score is evaluated as the bonus awarded if they belong to the same company, plus the intersection size multiplied by symmetric differences. So this is a scoring function described in the problem statement. So if I don't miss anything, I think that this is a possible first, I hope, working solution. So maybe we can recap it. So the solution, the function to find a solution is very simple. For each of the cell, I find the best to place it. So this is a short solution. All the evaluation I do is in the find best function, where I iterate over all the possible developers and managers. I evaluate the score if I put that developer in that position, and then I find the best one to place one. After I found it, if I found it, I place it in the position I told them to place off. Of course, the things where the contestant may lose sometimes is to read the input, and of course evaluate the score, because it may be not easily to write without writing bugs. I, of course, already know the problem statement, so for me it's now easy to write it the first time, and
Yeah,
we can check if this solution is working.
That's a good point, I would say, since it's the only way to verify how good was your work.
Yes. So, okay, so this is a valid, I hope, solution. So I can try it on the sandbox. this is the solution for the smallest, for the example statement, which you can find in the PDF of the problem. So this is a possible solution. I can try it in live. So I hope to find the file. Okay, I can drag and drop the file on the sandbox. Okay, I send it. You have to find some way to. Okay, maybe this is the harder part. So the sandbox evaluate in online the solution. It gives me the real scores. So after some seconds, so it told me this is a valid solution. After that, it awarded me the points. Okay, so this simple solution gives me 36 points. So it's working, and we can try with the other solutions.
Okay, I would say not bad for a.
Yes.
Yeah.
So things that we can do to understand where the computation of the software is, we can write some debug log to see, of course, for the slowest input where I reached. So I can see, I can write this one. So read the input maybe. So for the first input, it find the solution very fast because it's small, but for the biggest, it may require some time. So right output, I need some hints where the solution is stuck. So find the solution. Another things to do is to write a function which is called getScore, which do the things that the sandbox give, but in local. So I don't have to submit every time. So this is a very useful thing to do. So I don't have to send each files to the sandbox and wait, because it may require some time, and this is a waste if I don't have so much time. So the score for solution simply do these things. So after I find a solution, I can evaluate the score with the placed developers in the map. So at the beginning, the score is equal to 0. Then
this is a good hint, because it's very useful to have a function that give you your score without needing to go on the to wait for the platform to evaluate the solution. So you can also check if your solution is best or not, and also you can check if you have maybe some error, some things. You start to seeing maybe your solution has a score different from the platform. You start thinking maybe I did something wrong.
Yes, of course. So this is also for debug.
Yeah.
So I iterate over all developers and the manager. If it is not placed, suppose it's not placed. Okay, the total score is equal. I add total score. Okay, score. Which take the index and pose it. Okay. So another things I have to pay attention is to don't mess up with the height and width, because it's a very common thing to swap the height and the width of the maps. So this is a possible error that we can do in doing the challenge.
Yeah, there are a lot of people doing the challenge that asked why my solution is not valid. Often it was because they had people that were outside the bound, and probably is because they inverted X and Y. Also, there is the chance maybe you are using X and Y correctly in some part of your code, and you are doing them wrong in the other one. So it's on the point you are keep very extra attention, because it's very easily to do something wrong to drop them.
Yes, of course. It might be the case of. something more than 5 minutes to end our live streaming. We are live together with Gaspare and Mirko, of course, in order to highlight and solve the problem statement released for the Reply Code Challenge 2020. This is a live coding session in order to find out a good solution. Gaspare, which percentage are you up to pretty much? 80%, 9%?
So I think I already done a first working solution. So
yeah,
for example,
that's it. Of course, you're right.
It's finished the first input, so I can try it and see if the score is right, because it's not said that I write correctly. So for example, I can take, I drag and drop the file from our monitors. I send it to the sandbox.
Come on, don't get wrong. That one.
Wow. I wait some seconds. So very useful things to do is to parallelize the critical parts of the code, because, for example, for this input, it needs 21 seconds and it's one of the smallest. So one thing I can do is to parallelize using one of the many available library. So, for example, I can do simple optimization of the problem by simple doing this line of code. So with only this line, I speed up the solution 6 times by 6 times.
Okay, that is, I mean, enough, a good results, and it gives us even the proof that by constantly updating and submitting new kind of solutions, you can get, of course,
Yes.
a new and better working code in terms of the score you get.
I can run it, so I see if we can come up with our solution. So in the while that my computer evaluates all the inputs, maybe we can give an idea of I can improve it. So after this, we can do which is called the hill climbing approach, which is a technique already done in machine learning problems or maybe optimization, where I start from a valid solution and try to optimize it. So for example, I can do these things, optimize solution. So I can do these kind of things where while I can optimize the solution, I try it. So I can do these kind of things. So this is a work to improve the scoring. So step plus, and I can do this kind. Okay. Score optimization step. Okay. So in the meanwhile, we are evaluating our inputs. Okay. And we have to do this function which take a valid solution and try to improve it. So this is the second part of the problem where you can try to write by yourself.
All right. I would say, since we reached pretty much the end of our time, if you are satisfied by the solution you have implemented and actually even updated a couple of times, I would say that for the scope of this webinar, we reached a good level. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay. Good that I get you. Since we are in love again in challenging the genius, I have another game for you. You ready?
Okay.
As always, so you have to stop sharing your home screen, and we try to grill our genius by Mirko. Of course, you can play with us as well. Please, Gaspar, stop sharing your own in order to let me share my. Thank you very much. We are always proposing Gaspar, to solve that kind of mind tricks you may find on the web in general, that kind of social media stuff that many of us are just trying to answer by commenting. And so raising the attention and the conversion of those posts. You know the solution here?
Yeah, I already know the problem, so I don't want to cheat you.
So
this
you
is
know it.
Classic problems for logic quicks of social networks.
Okay, and then you see the solution there.
Yes, we can simply rotate the monitor of
the head, and it's easy. Okay, but don't get that. Okay, so the solution is
87.
87. So it's good that you have sometimes to change your perspective in order to solve it. But I have another one. Okay, so don't be that sure about your. Okay, let me wait. I have to share it again. That might be, I don't know, maybe a little harder.
Okay. So,
you know it?
No, but okay.
They gave it to me it's quite popular on high school tests. They gave it like this. Gaspar is taking, okay, now we see that you have your code challenge t-shirt, and that's great. Then you're getting pen and notebook. So we have a cat on a table, and from the top of a tortoise, it's 170 centimeters. Then if we place the tortoise on top of the table, from the top of the cat to the tortoise is 130. How tall is the table?
So Mirko, please help me.
Community, you can propose your solution on the chat, of course, as well.
There are 2 attempts, I don't know.
Is that hard or not? I mean,
so maybe after 1 hour of coding.
Let's see. Take time and see if the community is proposing as a solution. Okay, just take time. What is the way to solve it? We have those 2 informations.
So maybe we can write the equation associated with
why not? Why not?
Too.
You might. Do you want to share your code distro?
Yeah.
Evans is saying it was more interested in the optimization part of the problem. Come on, man. We're joking right now. We are grilling the genius. You see, the genius is struggling here, okay? Mirko?
Yeah, it's trying to write equation. What is not so sure because we are 3 variable here.
There are table, cat, and tortoise.
Yeah. So I'm seeing this some way one cancel the other, or there is some other trick.
The people are just complaining we are passed to another game. But what's wrong with you guys? We are grilling the genius. Anyhow, of course, you'll see the coding part of the webinar available on challenges.reply.com right after the end of our seminar or of our live streaming. 2 are to solve, I guess.
Mirko?
I don't know.
Okay, we can even end the live streaming with the mystery behind it, okay, and see if we can find it. But you have to admit you've been beaten by a social media post.
Okay, maybe have the solution. Let's see.
Mirko has it.
These 2, I think, cancel them. So we have 170 diviso. So let's see if I have.
Even say 150 centimeters.
Yeah, Evan says 150 centimeters. So it means that.
Yeah, me too.
It works.
Yeah, it works because you get the equation, but the one variable cancel itself when you put them together. So you get the sum of the 2.
So Mirko and Evans win ex aequo. They reach the same solution at the same time. Thank you for playing. That was the silly part of it. I have a role. Okay, I have to play something. Yes, please. Stop sharing right now.
Okay, you can see me? Okay.
Yes, we can.
So now I am evaluating the last input. It requires a lot of minutes because if you see the input number 4, it requires 1 minute and 16 seconds. The last one requires a lot of time, but if I send only the first 5, so there is a spoiler that with this solution we can reach the first 21st position, which is higher, of course. And by writing a simple optimization of the solution, we can score a lot of higher. So so far my best score is 23 million, more or less. And with okay, now we have scores. So we have a pretty much good solution, even with the most simple of the solutions. So if you compare this kind of score with the first one, maybe with the winners, we can see that the second input he reached more or less 3 millions, while I do 2 million and 6 and 7, more or less. And this is a good way to start, because after we have scored a simple solution, we can try with some little tricks to optimize it. So if you see, it are still stuck on the last input. So after even I parallelize the code, and this is 6 times faster than the linear solution, it required a lot of time. So for this kind of solution, is very useful to write it in the right programming language, for example C++, and not maybe in Python, which is more which is lower than maybe C++ or also other okay, is finished, other interpreted programming languages. I can submit and see which is my final score with this solution written in only 1 hour. Okay, so I submit the first output, the second output, the third, the fourth. Okay, so now we are almost ready. And F. Okay, so this is my final solution written in more or less 40-50 minutes. We can wait for the last validations.
Of course.
And maybe we can close after this.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, so this is a valid solution. Good to see it. Okay, so we reached 22 millions and 900,000, more or less.
Wow.
And we can, if you look at our scoreboard, we can see that with this simple solution, even if we don't have done some very complicated things, so just take the best one for each of the cells, we score a lot of points. So if you see at the scoreboard, maybe we can
I guess that, yeah, you're not on the podium, but pretty much there.
So
top 10 probably.
I maybe top 10, no, but
no. Okay, yeah, sorry.
With 23 million.
First 30, maybe.
Yes, more or less 30. So more or less this place.
I see right now Dodo the pigeon team.
So very good, because we have more than 2,000 team participants. So
yeah, I would say
third place,
competing.
Yes, alone in 40 minutes is lots.
But because you are the genius. Thank you very much, Gaspare, to provide us in such a short amount of time a solution to the Reply Code Challenge 2020 problem statement faced by more than 20,000 people, together with their 21,000 submission uploaded to the platform. Thank you very much, Mirko, for playing together with us today and assisting me in highlighting the problem statement from the Codemasters team, the team of the best coders in Reply. Thank you all. We are, a bit out of time, but that's it. Once the code requires it, it's fine. We'll get in touch soon for another webinar, again related to the teen edition. Stay tuned, get in touch with us. As always, you can register to challenges.reply.com to discover more than, to discover everything available there and to play together with us. My kids are screaming, and so that's the signal to get out and leave you all. Enjoy the weekend. Stay safe and strong, of course. We'll get in touch soon to play again together. Ciao Gaspare, ciao Mirko, and thank you all.
See you on the next webinar.
Ciao.
Yeah, thank you all. Ciao, goodbye.
Thank you, Rico. Bye-bye.
Good
Ciao.
evening.